What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Creative Collision podcast. This is Saeed here, bringing you a new episode. I'm gonna do some catching up in the sports world on this one. Baseball season's up and running, of course. For about 3 weeks into the season, so I'm going to just kind of um, recap the season so far with the Dodgers and how they're playing, and if I believe that they have a chance to win 120 games. I think that's a good goal for them to try to achieve, and it's something that's possible. So I'm gonna talk about the Dodgers and if they have a chance to break the regular season win record, which is held by the Seattle Mariners. They won 116 games in 2001, and my thoughts on if the Dodgers can break that record. Just something I was thinking about with their hot start, and I definitely do think they have the team to do so. So I'll get into that. They're facing the Padres today and having their second series with the Padres, a 4-game series in LA. Dodgers won 2 out of 3 against them last week. So yeah, catching up on the baseball season on this podcast, and also the NBA season up to this point. So at the time of recording this episode, Anthony Davis is supposed to play today for the Lakers. His first game back is supposed to be today. So we're getting closer to the playoffs now. We're only about like 15 games away from the end of the season, and for the Lakers, they're still without LeBron, and they've been treading water. Staying afloat, which is all they needed to do. Just stay around 500, and they managed to do so without AD and LeBron. So AD's coming back today. That's good news for the Lakers, and just in time for the playoff for a playoff run. Need to get together, get up and running, to try to make a championship run to win back-to-back championships. So I'll catch up on the NBA season as well, and not just the Lakers, but kind of the rest of the league, and who I think can win a title this year. So yeah, let's get into it. So let's start with the Dodgers and the MLB season. So far the Dodgers are 14-4. They're 10 games over 500. They got off to the best start for a repeating championship team in history. So I think when the Dodgers got off to that 12-2 start, it might have been 13-2 that broke the record. It was the best record a defending champion team has got off to start the next season. So they got off to a hot start. They're still playing well at 14-4, and their offense has struggled lately. They're over the last week. Really, it started since the Padres series last week. Their offense has been a little shaky. They haven't been hitting too much lately. But that kind of just goes to show how good this team is. They're 14-4, and they're still, you still feel they have another gear left, another level to go up to. They're without Bellinger. Bellinger's hurt right now. Mookie has been in and out of the lineup. You'll see if he plays today. He got hit on his forearm a couple games ago against the Mariners. So they're not just at the team right now. They're not hitting. They're still 14-4. So that just goes to show just how much better, how much deeper they are than every team in the league. Their starting pitching has been amazing. They've been great. That rotation is just crazy, man. Like your number 4 and 5 starters are Urias and Dustin May, and those guys could be like number 2, 3 starters on most other teams, maybe even a number 1 starter on other teams. And Urias has looked like an ace so far. May has been good, and of course, like the three top guys, Kershaw, Bueller, and Bauer they've all been great, pitching like aces. So the rotation's been amazing. The bullpen has been good. They had a rough first series against Colorado, but don't blame them. It was in Coors Field. So, but since then they've been good. Jansen's kind of been pitching angry lately after his one blown save against the A's. He's kind of come back, and his last like two outings, man, he's at Jansen is like the best I've ever seen him. Like throwing he's hitting like 97 with movement. So that's that's really impressive to see. So we'll see if that continues. But I really think this team. I really think this team can win 120 games. I do think that's entirely possible. As long as they just stay healthy enough at least. They can have some people out. They're already past some. Like I just mentioned, Bellinger's been out. Mookie's been in and out. They've had a little bit of injury stuff already, and they're still fortunate for it. So as long as the team stays relatively healthy enough, um, I do think 120 wins is a big possibility for this team. Yeah, I mean, of course, at the end of the day, it's not about the regular season with the Dodgers. 120 wins won't mean anything if they don't win a championship. It'll be like the 73-9 Warriors from 2016. So, it's all about, at the end of the day, it's all about winning the ring. But just for this season, and as far as the potential for this to be an historically great run for them, they can do it. They can have that type of 98 Yankees type of season. Where the 98 Yankees won 114 games, and they kind of ran through the playoffs. I think they lost maybe 2 or 3 games during that playoff run. Went at like 11-3 in the playoffs or something like that. So that and recent memory, I think that's the best team over the last like 50 years that come to mind. Then the Mariners are 116. That's their regular season win record, but they lost to the Yankees in the ALCS. So, this Dodger team has a chance to be up there with that 98 Yankees team as the best team in the last 50 years, as long as they win a championship. And I think win wise they'll end up right around that mark of 114 that the Yankees won, with the potential that they can possibly get to 120. They have all the makings of doing that. They're always gonna, just about every single time they go out there, they're gonna have the starting pitching advantage in their matchup. Their lineup's gonna be just about better than anybody out there, especially when they're fully healthy. So it's gonna be a fun season. This Dodger team has the potential to be one of the best teams ever. So it's gonna be interesting and definitely fun to see if that's something they can pull off this year. So it's been fun so far. 14-4. We can start going back to the stadium now. Fans are allowed to watch games now and go to Dodger Stadium. So I'm trying to get to a game soon. It's been 2 years, so definitely looking forward to that and to see the new upgrades they made at the stadium. So it's gonna be fun to finally go back there. And as far as like the rest of the league, the Padres are struggling right now. They're 10-10. They're supposed to be competing with the Dodgers, and it's not looking good right now for the Padres. Still way early, so they can make up some ground if they take the series against the Dodgers, but not a great start for the Padres. The Giants 11-7. They're looking pretty good. I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep that up though, but they're playing well. They're not a bad team. The Boston's off to a good start in the American League. Yankees they're supposed to be a championship contender, and they're 6-11. So that's been probably the biggest story so far in baseball. The Yankees' bad start. that's the biggest news so far in the season. They're in last place in the American League. I think I saw something the other day that this is the first time the Yankees had the worst record in the American League since, like, I don't know, like the early '90s or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but it's been a long time since the Yankees have had the worst record in the league, and that's where they are right now. They're tied for Minnesota now with the worst record in the American League. So it's just good to have a full season, a full 162 games. There've been some postponed games here and there, but it's just good to have baseball back, man. To have baseball back and have fans in the stadiums again, and just the world feels right when we're having baseball and we're in the swing of the season. So yeah, it's good to have baseball back, and we'll see how the Dodgers continue to play, and they can have one of the great seasons of all time. See if they accomplish something historical this year. So we'll leave it at that for baseball. Next up, I'll talk about the Dodgers and I'm sorry, the Lakers, and kind of give an update on their season and just on the NBA season in general. So the Lakers play Dallas today. Anthony Davis's first game back since he had that Achilles injury that I feel like he probably could have came back sooner, but the Lakers are taking it easy. The playoffs is the main concern, so I was give him his full rest, have him 100% back, and now he's good to go. So they did their job while he was gone. Well, AD and LeBron have been out. The Lakers have been, they've obviously fell in the standings a little, but not too bad. I mean, 35-23 right now. They treaded water. They stayed right around 500, maybe a couple games under, I believe, both their record without AD and LeBron. But Coach Vogel did a great job while they were out. He still had his team playing defense. They're still locked in on defense. I think they were, even without AD and LeBron, the Lakers were still a top 5 defensive team without them. So those principles, those defensive principles are what made Vogel such a good coach. He even if the talent's not there, he has them locked in and playing like the way they're supposed to. Staying consistent with their play. Obviously, their biggest struggles were on offense. Without their 2 best scorers, the Lakers really struggled on offense. They have no shot creators. Dennis Schroeder, good scorer, can get his own shot, can get buckets, but he's not much of a facilitator, and that's where the Lakers struggled. They didn't really have any point guard out there that can really run the offense in a way that can create shots for others. So at times their offense was really tough to watch, man. Some of these games, and when they were struggling to shoot, they couldn't make any shots. They looked bad in some of these games, but all in all, they played well. They played well without their 2 superstars, and now they'll be back in be back soon. LeBron should probably be back soon, I feel. And now with AD back, they can get poised to make a run in the playoffs. That's all that matters. Right now they're in the 5th seed. They're about they're about 3 games ahead of Portland for the 6th seed, but and they're 3 games back of Denver for the 4th seed. I think they have a chance of catching Denver. I do think they can, because Denver lost Jamal Murray for the season. Sad, a lot of injuries in the NBA this season. I don't know if it's a product of coming back too soon and rushing the season, but it's really unfortunate how many injuries there's been to superstar players. Jamal Murray was one of the latest ones. So with him gone, the Lakers can leapfrog Denver possibly, and I don't see them catching up to the Clippers or Phoenix at all. But the highest the Lakers could finish is the fourth seed, and it really looks like at this point it's going to be Lakers and Denver in the first round. That's who the Lakers are going to play. They're going to play Denver in the first round. Um, we just don't know if it's going to be in the Lakers will have home court or they have to go on the road to start that series. But either way, the Lakers will more than likely play Denver in the first round. And without Jamal Murray, the Lakers beat them last year with Jamal Murray. So without him, it's going to be tough for Denver to do anything. Jokic has to go off, and he might be the MVP this season, but it's a tough task for Jokic to try to carry that team against the Lakers if LeBron and AD are healthy. And just looking at the NBA season, it's been a weird year, of course, um, still because of COVID and not having fans for a majority of the season, but also just the schedule, just the way the season has panned out, how rushed it kind of started, and then you feel like a lot of these teams weren't ready, and there's been a lot of bad play this year, a lot of injuries, of course, like I just mentioned. So it's one of those weird years where there's not really a clear-cut MVP. There's not really a dominant team, Utah has the best record, but is Utah really a dominant team? Nobody thinks of Utah as like a 2016 Warrior team or something like that, even though the Utah has the best record. So it's been a weird year. There's not really a favorite. If the Lakers are healthy, they got LeBron. At the end of the day, a healthy LeBron is gonna make the Lakers a favorite against anybody in the West. It doesn't matter who they're playing. So um, I still think this is my prediction earlier in the season. I predicted Lakers and Brooklyn in the finals, and I'm gonna hold on to that. I still think that's the most likely NBA Finals matchup. Now, with Brooklyn, the Lakers have by far the most talent in the West when they're healthy, and then in the East, Brooklyn has by far the most talent in the East when they're healthy. It's all just a question of if both teams are going to be at full strength, come playoff time. And I'm more worried about Brooklyn not being at full strength than I am about the Lakers. The Lakers have, managed it pretty well. LeBron has been taking his time. AD, they're taking their time with both of them. LeBron knows his body better than anybody's been one of the most durable players ever. So I have no concern about LeBron's ankle and him coming back. Then AD, they took it slow with AD on purpose because they know they need him for the playoffs. So I think both of them will be ready to go come playoff time. But Brooklyn, on the other hand, it's concerning. Their big three, Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and James Harden, they played maybe like 5 games together. So Brooklyn is. I'm sticking with my pick, but Brooklyn is starting to feel a little bit like the Clippers of last year, where they have all this hype. They got all this. Basically, everybody's trying to crown them before they won. Like the Clippers last year, and what ended up happening, right? The Clippers fell apart in the playoffs. I kind of see this a little bit with Brooklyn. Now, the difference is, I think Brooklyn is just better than the Clippers were last year. So I think they can possibly overcome stuff like that, but it has to be concerning, especially with KD. KD, he just can't stay healthy, and I feel like they were taking it easy with him as well, but he comes back, then he gets hurt again, and he just can't stay on the floor. Then you got James Harden now, who's out indefinitely with a hamstring, and hamstrings are weird because hamstrings you can come back in a couple of days, sometimes they'll take a couple of weeks. You just never know with hamstrings, and then you can come back. You can try to come back too fast, and all of a sudden your hamstring goes out again. So I have some. I'm definitely concerned with Brooklyn. I do think they can be beaten. There's a better chance of them losing than the Lakers. I feel like. Philly's gonna be trouble. Philly's gonna be a problem for Brooklyn if they face each other. Who's gonna guard Embiid? Simmons at the defender can kind of take away one of those three players on Brooklyn, one of the big three, and then they're a pretty deep team. I feel like their mentality is different this year. They're well coached. They have some championship. Brought in former championship players like Danny Green. Who's obviously not a great player, but still like there's value in having him on your team come playoff time and somebody who's won before. So I think their mentality is different and they can definitely take out Brooklyn. And Milwaukee, I'm still not sold on Milwaukee. I don't think I just don't trust Giannis in the playoffs. So if there's anybody that's gonna be the Nets, it's gonna be Philly. I do look at Miami as like a dark horse because of what they did last year. But still, I think Philly. If Brooklyn's only down, they need all three of their guys to beat Philly. I think if Brooklyn only has two of their big three, then I don't think that's enough to beat Philly. So we'll see. We'll see if they can get healthy. But right now, it's just not looking good. It's not looking good. I don't have a huge confidence in that pick right now. But I gotta stick to it. Gotta stick to my word. So we'll see. So I expect the Lakers here with AD coming back to go on a run here, catch Denver for that fourth seed, and then be ready by playoffs. Be ready by the playoffs and hopefully they can get back to the finals and repeat. We get another LA championship year with the Lakers and Dodgers, hopefully. So in back-to-back years, so that that'd be pretty special. That should be all for this this episode. It's catching up on the NBA world and the MLB world, and there'll be more updates. We'll have more sports podcasts throughout the season. I'm probably going to do a podcast on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier after the finale this Friday. So coming up on the last episode of that. So be on the lookout for that as well. But yeah, that'll be it for this episode. I will catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Peace.